been a long time coming. This is my first time putting one of these back together. So, you get to take the journey with me. So, what I did with this motor, first of all, it wouldn't start, tore it apart, noticed all the piston rings were lined up, straight line, figured no compression, didn't have any way to test it then, do now, but tore it apart, figured out what tools I needed. Over the past year and a half, bought the tools I needed because I knew I wasn't going to do this every day, so I didn't want to just go out and buy all the tools I needed. I wanted to make sure I had a reason to have the tools, and I do have 3 other Briggs motors to work on. I have 2 Predator motors I want to do some work on, so I justified buying the tools by having enough motors to do work on. Hopefully I don't have to use all the tools more than a couple times, and if need be, I can always sell the tools I don't use anymore. If I decide I don't like this work, I don't have to keep the tools, I can sell them. But anyway, make something back. So I'm not exactly sure where to start because this is my first time, but I figure I will do piece by piece, and when the pieces are ready, I will put them together. So the first thing that I did, because I didn't want to spend, they want what, $45, $48 for the assembly, for the governor, for this thing. So I just popped this governor thing that comes up, pulls this lever here up in order to do the governor. I just took this out. It was laying in the motor when I tore the motor apart to begin with. I'm not going to put it back in because I'm not going to have a governor. Because it was out when I pulled the motor apart, I don't want it falling out again while the motor's running. So I'm going to keep the gears in there because I don't want to have to go about sealing this sump cover back up. The gears look like they're in good shape. The assembly looks like it's in good enough shape. So I will lube it up a little bit before I put everything back together just to make sure everything is what it should be. So I think this is the part I'm going to start with. The only thing I have to do to this is take these drains out, put in the bushing or the oil seal for this, and clean it up real good, and then lube this up, lube these surfaces up really good, and then this part should be set aside. I do have the gasket for it. I'm going to spray the gasket with sticky tack in order to make sure it stays put while I'm putting the motor back together, and I will do that when I get to it. So this is the part we're going to start with. Second thing we're going to do is we're probably going to do we're probably going to start on the block after that. We're going to put in the seal for this PTO side, I think it is, or I think this is the PTO side, the sump cover side, and I think this is where the flywheel cranks. Okay, so we will put that seal in. We will put the crank in, put the rings on the piston, drop the piston in. We'll put our whatever these are called, put those in, shove our crank in there, make sure the timing lines are marked or lined up. Then we will put in our valves, valve springs and retainers, sump or the breather. We'll put that in with the gasket. Then we'll rotate everything, make sure it's all clearing everything and and nice. And we'll lube everything up on our way through. And we'll make sure everything's torqued correctly on the inside, and then we will put this cover back on, and then I think we will drop the head on, and we will throw an exhaust on real quick. And before we throw the gas tank and the carburetor on, we will fire it up on starter fluid just to see if everything starts, runs, and then we will throw the carburetor and the gas tank on, and then we will go do another test. And then we'll put the wind assembly and throttle control links and all that things on there at the end. So I don't know how long this video is going to be, because I'm going to try to keep you live with me during the whole time. I've already talked for about, 6-7 minutes, so we got new gaskets, rings, and bushings for the PTO side and the sub pump side. Also a new recoil. I figured with the cylinder wear and the ring wear that I had that I would have to get rings 2 over. In fact, I could have probably went with standard rings, because these rings were just wore out. So I have to grind these down to spec, So I've been grinding a little bit. I'm just using this, and I'm going just a little bit at a time, checking it, a little bit at a time, checking it, a little bit at a time, checking it. Now I'm going to have to do that with all 3 rings, but guaranteed to get the clearance that I want. So right now, it almost fits. So what I'm going to do is pass this probably and count to like 10. Like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then I'll flip it, do the same thing, 10. Wipe it off, make sure I get all the metal shavings off of it, and then check the fit again. And I will do that until it fits with about 1/1000th clearance at the top while it's in. And then, focus. And then I will move it down about halfway down the cylinder and see what its clearance is down there. And what I want down there, I believe, is 2/1000ths max in the middle. So we will check that and make sure the numbers are right. But I will get back with you once I get it right, and then show you the clearances I'm after. Alright, so I got it in, and here is my, I don't know if you see that, 2/1000ths, 10 hundredths thousandths behind the decimal point. And right now, like no, I gotta hold this right. Right now, it goes in, not all the way, so it still has a little bit of grinding, and there's a little bit of room. So I'm almost there for the top. You can see the tiny little gap. Oh, sorry. I'm feeling just easy pass. So it's a hair over 2/1000ths up at the top. So it should be pretty close to 2/1000ths when it gets halfway down the cylinder. So we will get that check done now. What we use is the cylinder itself to push it down. I'm going to wipe it off before I shove it in there. But no, it has some resistance there. It's not going in real smooth. So that little burr is the only thing we got to worry about. But we do have 2/1000ths at about halfway down. We get rid of that burr, and then we'll be good to go. So I'll show you what we get rid of that burr, and then we'll move on to the next set of rings. Okay, so I have my spec list for what everything should be down here. And the top ring should be 1/1000ths minimum to 3/3500ths max at the top, or that's just the top ring. So I have a lot of room to play here. I'm shooting for 2, so that should be well in between there. Could probably shoot for like 5/1000ths and still be fairly safe on that ring. So there it is. It still has that. I don't know if you can see that. It's not really focusing that well. Let's see if I can tilt this up. There we go. So it still has that tiny burr in it, just a slight burr. I think it's on the right side. Yeah, it's ground slightly at an angle on the left side is what it is. So, but when you check these, You're supposed to check these here, 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 and here in all four corners, because the cylinder is not perfectly round. It's kind of machined oblong. So you want to make sure that your clearances are the same or within tolerance on all four corners for all three rings that we're going to be doing. So we're going to check that. I'm going to check that burr real quick. And once it's perfect all the way around, we'll move on to the second ring, and then I'll show you what that one looks like. Okay, so this is the second ring, and we've been filing it for a little bit. This is almost all the way in, and you can see the tiniest of gap right there. That means we're getting there. So now we got to work a lot slower. Now the tolerance for this one is between 8 thousandths and 12 hundredths. So we're shooting for 9 thousandths, which is pretty thick. Yeah, there's one for both top and bottom. So I've got two bottoms. I just need another top. Where'd the top go? Oh, it would be nice to be able to do this without losing stuff. But I mean, it has been a year or so, so it is what it is. I'm glad I found the second bottom one. I kind of dig through these head bolts. Double check everything. Double check my workbench. Things could have went somewhere. Double check the magnet. Oh, it's got some metal shavings on it. It's not on the magnet. Alright, well that's kind of weird. All this time and I'm missing just a wee little part. That's kind of cool. I should have put everything in a coffee can like I normally do, but I didn't think this thing would be apart for however many years it was apart. I thought I'd be able to get jump on it and get done with it early, but if I don't find that other retainer piece, I think we're going to be on pause for a minute. Might have to run out, grab that junk motor and grab one of those. Because I don't remember seeing it. Oh, no, I just dropped it. That could be where it is. Alright, I'll catch up with you guys later as soon as I find it. Hi everybody, welcome back. I'm not sure why, but my phone that I'm recording with dies after 30 minutes. So I honestly don't know what you missed, what you didn't yet. But anyway, here we are. I measured the valve lash, and it was 10 on the exhaust and 6 on the intake with some drag at top dead center. Said what we're going to do next is we're going to put the springs on. I have the Briggs & Stratton spring compression tool. It's going to make that job a lot easier. The exhaust spring is the bigger spring, compared to the other spring. The exhaust spring is the larger one. I remember that. So we are going to get our spring compressor ready. Okay, our spring is in the spring compressor. I think these widen and so that it grips the spring correctly. That one does. This thing's not the easiest thing in the world to use. Alright. Got some tension. That one's on. That one's on. Alright. Checking it. We're fully seated. Gonna make sure that we're snug on the expanding on both. So we start compressing so it doesn't spread apart on us. And then just like that, it compresses the spring. Alright, so now we need the retainers. I honestly don't know where half this stuff goes. If you can't find something, chances are it's sitting on the magnet for the coil. Alright, so here's one. There's number two with some metal shavings on it. I'm pretty sure the way this works is that there's one on the top and one on the bottom of the valve. So there should be, before I get started, I'm going to make sure I got all the parts. Yeah, there's one for both top and bottom. So I've got two bottoms. I just need another top. Where'd the top go? Welcome back. Well, I didn't find it, so I'm going to have to rob one off the motor that's outside, which is alright. So I was going to put these back in. I wasn't even paying attention to what I was doing. I was about to put them back in, and I was like, oh no, I'm supposed to be filming it. So apparently it's easy to do with the right tool, but I'm telling you, I don't. Alright, so actually, I'll turn this, because I can't rotate it in this way for that to engage. So I have to do it this way. So I have to turn that around to where it's the other way. Not too big a deal. It's about the third time I've been messing with it. turn you. Face the other way. There. Alright. Seated. Yeah, and we'll just rob the other motor outside. We're probably going to end up using that for parts anyway. Alright, so now when I put it in, I can lean it this way to get it through the hole. Just checking to see, why it won't work. Outside of it. It's looking like the valve won't go. Like there's a collar there. I'm going to check the other valve just to see if there's a difference. Alright. So here's what I'm figuring out. This top retainer should not be in this, but should be on the valve. This should be on here so that I can clip it. Or just the spring and then slip this in. So we're going to do it that way. So we're not going to be able to do this with it together the way it is. It does not want to go, does not want to bend to go. So, alright. So, we'll take our spring out. We'll take our valve. And we're on the exhaust one. Okay, we will slide this on there. We will save this. And we will just compress the spring. And slip it in there. Not quite on it. There we go. Seated better. Yeah, looks good. Yeah, so we'll just compress the spring. And then we will put it in the spring. And then we'll just slip this bad boy on there. Using needle noses. pliers of some sort. Because I ain't sticking my fingers in there. Pull that valve out for now. Get some headroom. I'd be able to navigate it with a screwdriver. Alright, correction. After further investigation, it turns out that the intake spring does not have a retainer at the top. So I am not missing any parts. That being the case, it's time for the intake spring. There it goes. Make sure they're all seated. And compress. Alright, this one should be relatively easier because all I got to do is pass it through the spring and then get the retainer to clip on. Found that tweezers are pretty easy to use. They do a pretty good job. Oh, you know, yeah. Ah. There. Slip this guy on. Maybe. Bring it up a little. So I can slip it over where it goes. And push it in once I get past it. Tweezers are not the ideal tool for this. And remember, how much light you got in your shop is probably not enough. Because this is hard to see in this little cavity. And I have a lot of light. You know what? You'll just have to trust me that they're in. There's no way I'm going to be able to keep this up. Alright, welcome back. Little bouncy, little bouncy. Alright, so the sump cover checks out. Got my little oil things back in. Did some rotations. It's still sounding really good. I'm going to go ahead and clean off all this residue around here so we can get the head back on and torqued. Alright. So here's the head and the new head gasket. The old one wasn't bad, so we're going to use it to compare gasket sizes with the rest of the engines we have to see if so apparently it only goes on one way. That looks good there. we're going to pass a head bolt through just to line the gasket up. Now there are some motors that have long and short bolts. The racing motor I showed in a previous video does not have different bolts. It has all the same length. These do have different lengths, so keep in mind that your 3 longer bolts are supposed to be on the exhaust side of the engine. That would be this side. So those are the ones we're going to start with. Spark goes over the piston. So this would be a long exhaust bolt. And then this would be a short other head bolt. And we'll use these 2 bolts to line up the gasket and make sure we're good. The gasket shouldn't be able to move after that. That head does not look correct. So we will flip it. Switch these bolts around. Let's see how that works. That looks a lot better. Looks like the spark goes on the valve side. Huh. That's weird. There's no way it could be backwards. Gasket's not showing. Alright, grab our other 2 long exhaust side bolts, get them started. Grab our other head bolts, get those started. Alright. I should have one more head bolt somewhere. There it is. Alright, and these are looks like 13 mil. We will get our torque wrench out, and it's 140 inch-pounds. There's 140. And we'll have to use our adapter. We don't have an adapter out for this, so we will see about using the other torque wrench. That was the Pittsburgh one. I'm not going to say I trust it 100%. This is the Master Force torque wrench. Looks like it goes from 130 to 150. All right. Zeros lined up with 130. I'm going to go 10 more than that for 140. 10, lock it. Now we need the tiny to big adapter. I don't even know if I got one of those. Or we can find a 13 and a half. I don't know if we can. I'm going to say I don't have that. A little to big. So, we won't get in this one. Let's see if the bigger torque wrench, next size up, has this quarter or 3/8 inch drive. That's a 1/2 inch drive. Uh-oh. Oh, it's foot-pounds. Well, 10 foot-pounds would be 120 inch-pounds. So we'll just kind of guess it. I'll go to 10, it'll be 120. Let's see, 7, 7. So 14 foot-pounds. Now, what's 140 divided by 12? Maybe 1, 8, 7, 6, 16. So it'd be about 16 foot-pounds, give or take. I'll say about 17 probably, but we'll do 12, 14, we'll do 17 foot-pounds. And then we got to get our 1/2 inch to 3/8 adapter, which I'm pretty sure I got one of those. Nope. No, I don't. Huh. I know I do. I know I do. I've used it on a... I know I've got one. I just don't know where it's at. It's not in there. Alright. Well, we've succeeded in not having the right tools. Great. Alright, I just need to find a 13. It's a good thing I can edit this. Both them torque wrenches are set up. I need to find a 1/4 inch 13. Half. There's 11. used it on a. I know I've got one. I just don't know where it's at. It's not in there. Alright. Well, we've succeeded in not having the right tools. Great. Alright, I just need to find a 13. It's a good thing I can edit this. Both them torque wrenches are set up. I need to find a 1/4 inch 13. Half. There's 11. Looky there. Got a 1/2 inch 13. Just got it in my impact set. Sweet. Alright. Make sure that's tight. Alright. Hasn't clicked yet, so we'll start on another bolt. Hasn't clicked yet. Start on another one. We'll do kind of a star pattern until start hearing clicks. Now, we're not having much luck having this thing stay put. Now when you run this, after the first break-in run, double check your head bolts so they will work loose. I can't. Woo. I can't seem to get this situated in a way where I can actually check the torque on it. So I'll kind of lay it down. There's the click. There's the click. There's click. There's click. click, click, click. Oh, there's one I missed. Click. Ooh, rounded that. About. Click. Click. Oh, I missed. Click. All right. Heads on. Now we will give it a couple more turns just to make sure everything's still good. Not hitting anything, locking anything up. Put our finger over there. Definitely good compression. All right. Everything is apparently ready to go on the engine side of things. Check back later with another video. We're going to take care of the flywheel and the electric side of things. Make sure we're getting spark. Check and test the compression. But for now, that's it for this video. It's going to have to be a part 2. This is taking me almost all day. Due to looking for parts I didn't have. So, with that, thank you for watching. Please like, subscribe, ring the bell for more content. Sooner or later, I will get some way to fund me to do more projects. I will be working on improving video quality soon. But this is the first round. Thank you for watching, and you, everyone, have a wonderful, wonderful weekend. It looks really nice outside. I'd rather be out there than working in here. But for you guys, I'm here. Hi, everybody. Welcome back. We're going to continue with this build here with this 5-horse Briggs. Checking the end play for the shaft. It looks like we only got about a 16th. We're going to measure that real quick just to make sure. Okay. All the way out. Collar's looking about 3/32. All the way in. Still looking like just about a 16th. So we have about a 32nd of play. Almost a 16th. We can measure it finer on this side. Yeah, 64ths and 32nds. So we'll go all the way out. Looks like we're sitting right at 3/32. Now, about 4. And we're 3. So yeah, we have a 32nd of play. We're fine. My spec sheet says not to have more than quarter inch, less than a quarter inch. So we are perfectly fine there. That's definitely not a quarter inch. So All these torque wrenches. We're going to need the 1/2 inch one for the flywheel. So I'll get these other torque wrenches put away. They say to reset them to 0 when you put them away, but whatever. Not going to hurt them to be set. Alright, that one's put away. That's a nice one. I like that one. And this one's nice too, but I'll unwind this one. There we go. Alright. Well, we're going to get the compression tester out, and we're going to see what kind of compression we're getting. I am pretty sure we did not have compression in the last motor. We are going to check it to be sure on what we have. So let's see. That's the one for this one. This screws into there. This will be the first time I've used this compression tester, so although I know we just put new rings in, I'm more than willing to see what we got for compression. Alright, we will go ahead and spin this with the vice grips and see what kind of compression we're getting. Hiding underneath the cover. Alright. You guys see the dial? That was me. Oh, we don't have the breather hooked up. So all of our, I don't know why we're not getting any compression, but I can hear it coming out. The breather box. We'll go ahead and get that put back in real quick, just in case that's something that needs done. I did just have the gasket. Here's the screw. One of the screws. And there's the gasket, also underneath that case. And here's the breather. You'll notice that the breather has two little holes at the bottom, which would be the bottom of it when it gets installed. The gasket also has two little cutouts for that. So when you slip it on, those should line up and not cover those. I'll go ahead and get one of these screws in started. I know I took another one out and put it somewhere. I always do this. I know I got a couple I took out of the other one outside. I will put that one in. Now these are, there's no torque specs that I found on these. I'm just going to snug them up. Alright. Now we're snugged up. Oh, we were getting something. I don't think if we're not cranking it, we're going to get anything, but we'll see. Alright, a good hard crank right there puts us at about 20 pounds, 20 psi of compression. And that's just me hand cranking it. So when we get to fire it up, we'll check compression while we're spinning it, getting ready to crank up. So for now, the compression kit will get put away, and we'll move on to Alright. Now we're snugged up. Oh, we were getting something. I don't think if we're not cranking it, we're going to get anything, but we'll see. Alright, a good hard crank right there puts us at about 20 pounds, 20 psi of compression. And that's just me hand cranking it. So when we get to fire it up, we'll check compression while we're spinning it, getting ready to crank up. So for now, the compression kit will get put away, and we'll move on to the next thing we got to do, which is the flywheel. I just wanted to use that. Alright, so we've got, I can't remember where we left off exactly, but anyways, we've got exhaust put on, we've got the flywheel put on and torqued, 55 foot-pounds of torque. Got to use my big Harbor Freight torque wrench for that. Now we're going to check for spark, and then we're going to check compression again, and then we're just down to fuel before we can fire it up. We don't have anything in the hole currently, so we're going to spin this with our drill. Let's see if you guys can see some spark. I just did the other time I tested it, so we'll see if you can see some. I'll make it dark. See if we can see it then. Yep. Yep. Do it again. Make sure you guys see it's got spark. What's that shining? Oh, that's my light, my drill. Alright. So we've got spark. Now let's check and see how much compression we've got. Break out that compression kit again. And then we're going to turn it over a couple more times. Then we're going to throw some oil in it. Actually, before we go any further, we should probably throw some oil in it. So, before we go this far, let's just go ahead and top it off with some oil first. The break-in oil is always going to be non-synthetic. So, I don't see an O-ring on these. I don't see a place where one would seat either, but if these end up leaking, I'll throw an O-ring on them. Snug. Well, I have no idea how much oil I put in it so far. I guarantee you it's not enough. Alright, nice and snug. Those are finger tight on these, so don't worry about that. Okay, so now I will add some oil. Not quite enough yet. the tip of my finger is still not wet with oil. Means still not enough in it. I'll grab a phone. We're getting messy. We're going to change the oil probably 3 times. We'll do the initial break-in with this, and then give it an oil change, and go through the rest of the break-in with this. Well, it doesn't take a whole lot of oil. There we go. Alright. You know, I'm sitting there spinning it, check spark, and I'm forgetting to put oil in it. And then, you know, it goes without saying, I, you know, put oil in it, I put plugs in it. So, anyway. Alright. So that's the motor. There's oil in it. Don't see any leaks coming out of any side of it. I'd say we're safe to spin it up. Check for compression. See what we have for that. We made a mess on everything. Alright, before we were getting about 20 pounds. Let's see what we got now. I'm looking about just shy of 30. Which, if anybody knows what the compression should be, I'm not sure. Could be 30. 30 could be good compression. Not entirely sure. But we have compression and spark, which means we are technically ready to test this motor and fire it up. So I will throw a spark plug in, and we will get this motor mounted to something. And we'll give it a couple more spins with the drill before we fire it up. Make sure we are well lubricated and ready. This is the first build, like I said. I mean, I did forget to put oil in it. Yeah, plugs. It is what it is. Alright. See you in a little bit for the startup.